beautiful skin. Wood has a complexion, too. And like your skin, fine wood needs regular beauty care. That's why Scott's Liquid Gold is so important to the many wood surfaces in your home. It penetrates as it cleans, preserving natural beauty. Keep your fine woods looking their best with Scott's Liquid Gold Beauty Care Program. Because wood has a complexion, too.
Preventing an epidemic, tomorrow at 4. Channel 2 News at 5 with Jim Jensen, Michelle Marsh for Carol Martin, and Dr. Frank Field with weather.
Good evening. He grew up in the streets of Yorkville. Today he was mourned there. Funeral services were held for Jimmy Cagney, America's lovable, tough guy who never, ever forgot his roots. Entertainment editor Dennis Cunningham reports.
Today, James Cagney came back to East 96th Street for the final prayers for the last goodbye. Cagney lived his spirited teenage and young adult years on East 96th Street, a parishioner of St. Francis de Sales Church, where he was confirmed and where a mass was said for the repose of his soul. The mourners were led by Willie, Cagney's widow. They had been married 64 years. As might be expected, there were famous faces in the crowd, among them Governor Mario Cuomo, Mayor Ed Koch, John Cardinal O'Connor, and 4 who served as pallbearers: film director Milos Forman and boxing great Floyd Patterson, dancer and devoted fan Mikhail Baryshnikov, and actor Ralph Bellamy.
Not only we as friends have memories, but everybody in the world has memories of Jim. It's a magic name.
The famous faces, however, were not at all abundant. The faces of the neighborhood were. And just before the mass started, many standing outside were invited inside. James Cagney was never one for Hollywood glitter. He was very much a plain living man, very much an actor of the people. And the people were there, out of respect for his memory and to preserve the memory.
I enjoy watching the old movies even now and hope that they'll still be on when my daughter gets old enough to see them.
But the thing is, we'll see the next generations, how my children are becoming fans now.
I have a son 3 years old. I was trying to explain to him last evening about James Cagney. Of course, he didn't understand completely. I hope one day he will. But I feel it's a loss for everybody. He entertained us.
Inside the church, a priest friend had said of James Cagney, he was not the most pious man to walk across the stage, but he was good to the core of his being. On 96th Street, the people spoke out in their way. Dennis Cunningham, Channel 2 News.
Pay up or pay the consequences. That's the tough word this evening to New York's parking scofflaws. The city today declared war on its worst parking offenders, and for the first time, those notorious brown city tow trucks began roaming the Bronx, Brooklyn, and Queens. There are more than 235,000 scofflaws, but traffic cops will be paying attention to the heavy hitters, those with at least 150 unpaid tickets. Traffic officers will carry a list of the city's most wanted scofflaws, and if they're caught, it's an automatic trip to the pound.
Now the car's impounded, and he will not get it back until he pays all his outstanding summonses and the toll fee.
Up until now, we've just been working from 96 to the Battery, river to river. But now we're branching out to all boroughs because that's where most of the scofflaws are, out of borough.
And this evening, parking violations officials have tracked down 350 highly paid city workers among the city's parking cheats. They each reportedly owe an average of $350 to $400 in unpaid parking tickets.
Some more charges of bribery today within the machinery of New York City government. The former head of the city's Health and Hospitals Corporation, John McLaughlin, was indicted today on charges that he took nearly $173,000 in bribes from a company that wanted to do business with his agency. Manhattan District Attorney Robert Morgenthau says McLaughlin received 10,000 shares of stock in a California company named NewMed, a company which bid on and eventually won a $1 million contract with Harlem Hospital. Mayor Koch today said he's planning a full investigation.
I'm distressed by today's indictment of John J. McLaughlin relating to his performance of official duties. Since this indictment and an early indictment will be the subject of court action, I will have no comment on the specific allegations contained in the indictment.
Will the city attempt to get any of the money back from NewMed?
But I don't know of any monies that were stolen from the city by NewMed.
McLaughlin resigned as hospital's chief last August while he was being investigated for allegedly cheating a client by using her money to make personal investments. The district attorney says that case is probably related to today's charges.
A week after he was indicted in the Parking Violations Bureau bribery scandal, plans are now underway to remove real estate developer Michael Lazar from the Times Square development project. State and city officials want him off the project because they say he, quote, adds a cloud to the whole process. Lazar has told state officials he will not back out of the $5.4 million contract, but today Mayor Koch said that new bids are being solicited from developers for this Times Square project.
Different kinds of fires on Long Island. Brush fires there forced the evacuation of several homes today. A late morning blaze in North Patchogue burned out 6 acres and for a time threatened 5 homes. In Dix Hills, a separate fire burned its way into the backyard of at least one family, damaging a building right next to the family's pool. And the people next door were plenty scared as well.
Out of the house fast, and it just missed me by a hair.
What paper will this be in?
Just missed me by a hair. The whole house went up in flame.
The volunteer firemen fully expect to be busy like this for several months to come. And they say each fire is a little worse than you'd expect because of all the extra dead debris from Hurricane Gloria. Brush fires are also plaguing New Jersey. This one broke out today in the Meadowlands at Carlstead, spread toward nearby Moonachie. So far this year, more than 400 brush fires have destroyed 1,200 acres in New Jersey, more than double the damage at the same time a year ago. Officials say 60% of the fires are deliberately set. Nearly all the others are a result of just plain carelessness.
And fire isn't the only problem that New Jersey faces in the spring. The state's rivers are also susceptible to flooding. But today, some good news. Uncle Sam is going to help some families in flood-prone areas. The Passaic River Basin around Wayne, New Jersey, is often the victim of floodwaters, like this one 2 years ago. The federal government today said it will spend more than $5 million buying up homes in the flood area. Officials say they'll buy as many as 140 homes. Meetings are set throughout this month to explain the plan to area homeowners. And joining us now with more information on the federal buyout program, New Jersey Congressman Dean Gallo. Congressman Gallo, thanks so much for being with us today.
My pleasure.
This is, I understand, the biggest buyout of its kind in the country, right? How did it come about?
Well, it is the biggest buy. You're dealing with $5.5 million overall across the nation. We received $5.1 million. It happens because our particular North Jersey area is hit very hard by flood. In the past 5 years, we have spent over $2.2 million in flood relief. So this was appropriate. There are 4 towns that are affected in the state of New Jersey, which includes Wayne, Fairfield, we have Lincoln Park, and also Oakland. So we're very pleased with the results. That doesn't answer all the problems, but it does give owners an alternative to be able to alleviate the particular problems they have.
I'm sure there are a lot of happy homeowners out there in Wayne. What's the next step for them? How do they go about getting the money?
Well, there are going to be a number of hearings that will take place, and that will be over the next 2 months. They will be given all of the information as to how they comply and apply for the buyout. They do have that option. There will be appraisals that will be made both by the federal government and also independent appraisals made by their person of their choice. So hopefully it will help those in the flood-prone areas where they have been flooded out maybe 5 or 6 times. And this is one way of giving them some relief, at the same time eliminating a tremendous cost for future floods.
And finally, Congressman Gallo, what is the government going to do with these homes?
Well, they will be taken down, and the area will be dressed up, and it will be taken over by the municipality wherever that home is situated. And they will have that as parkland, and hopefully as this goes along, I think we can coordinate this with the state of New Jersey and its flood program so that maybe we can build a buffer park along these, the Passaic River in particular, so that we can alleviate the problems of flooding in the future.
Congressman Dean Gallo, thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you.
First fire, then flood, now another problem with nature.
And we have a man who wants to show the rest of us city people how to use Central Park for our food. As our health and science editor Earl Ubell learned, getting back to nature can be a crime in New York.
He calls himself Wild Man Steve Brill.
Okay, well, we found some dandelions over there.
And his mission in life is to teach people how to eat Central Park.
I bring people into nature. I have them touching and smelling and tasting some of the most delicious foods they've ever had.
Would you eat that?
Yeah, I would prefer picking it further away from the road and washing it first, but I'll certainly eat it here for demonstration purposes. And this tastes like the scallions you buy in the store, only better. It has vitamin C. Right over here, we have some field garlic.
Isn't what you're doing now illegal?
Yeah, quite illegal.
And that's the problem. Park officials had Wild Man Brill arrested for chomping on onions, dandelions, sassafras, and collecting $20 a head from people who went foraging with him.
The parks belong to all the people, not just to one person who wants a park for dinner.
Stern dispatched a couple of park rangers undercover, tracking Brill on one of his eating expeditions. They stopped at this stand of cattails, where Brill pulled one up from the muck.
He was taking pieces off and passing it around to the various members of the group to have a taste of it.
And you?
Me, I declined on that. I kind of stepped back, and I didn't really partake in the cattail.
Yes, there are a lot of plants that you can eat in Central Park, but besides the commissioner's misgivings, there's another problem, and here they come. Automobiles provide a lead salad dressing for those who would eat Brill's vegetables.
If he wanted a permit, we would give one to him if he promised not to eat what he sees.
I would be happy to compromise with him if he just wants me to pick dandelions and some of the field garlic and leave the roots, the sassafras roots alone. I would be happy to do that.
We don't know yet if Commissioner Stern will approve Wild Man Brill's change of diet. Earl Ubell, Channel 2 News.
More Americans are feared dead in that Mexican plane crash.
When we return, we'll have the latest details about that tragic crash.
You know, every time I buy delicious LaSalle all-natural ice cream, it reminds me of the days when ice cream was affordable, like when I used to go to Grandma's and make her homemade sundaes disappear. So rich and creamy, like this modern masterpiece with LaSalle ice cream, all-natural butter pecan, heavenly hash, and chocolate chip. I'll bet Grandma would love it. LaSalle all-natural ice cream. We value good taste.
It may sound old-fashioned, but I love simple things, like my home and my garden. I wouldn't want to risk them, and I feel the same way about my investments. I buy unit trusts because they're simple, dependable, and give me earnings free from income tax. Life is filled with change and risk, but it's important to remember the beauty of simple things, like gardens and unit trusts.
Now that it's tax time, isn't it time to think about earning tax-free income? And for New York investors who want triple tax-free income and an insured portfolio, Mosley offers the Empire Guaranteed Unit Trust. It pays 7.22% tax-free, no federal, state, or city tax. Under current tax law, this could mean an equivalent taxable yield of up to 17.54%. And the Empire Guaranteed Unit Trust is insured as the payment of interest and principal on the bonds. And Mosley has tax-free unit trusts for Connecticut and New Jersey residents, too. Call Mosley today for a free prospectus.
Wednesday's the one-day sale starting 9 a.m. at A&S. Wednesday only. A&S entire China department is 30 to 50% off. Every maker, every pattern, every playset, every open stock piece, 30 to 50% off. Wednesday only at A&S. Bone china, fine china, ironstone, stoneware, Mikasa, Lennox, Royal Dalton, Noritake, Wedgwood, Dance, 30 to 50% off. A&S entire China department. Wednesday's the one. The one-day sale store-wide at A&S. It's the terrific one.
The number of American lives lost in Mexico's worst air disaster has now risen to 9. A United States Embassy spokesman said today and confirmed the American death toll from yesterday's Mexicana airliner crash, but said no names are being released yet until the victims' families have been notified. And the search for the bodies goes on, as does a search for answers into the cause of the crash. That effort was aided today by the recovery of the plane's black box. CBS News correspondent Richard Schlesinger reports.
The remains of Mexicana Flight 940 lies shattered in an isolated mountain ravine about 80 miles northwest of Mexico City. All the 166 people on board presumed dead. The flight was on the way from Mexico City to Puerto Vallarta, Mazatlan, and Los Angeles. About 14 minutes after it left Mexico City, witnesses said they saw the plane explode just before it crashed. A Mexicana Airlines spokesman said the pilot reported he was having problems with the plane's pressurization, but there is still no confirmed cause of the crash. Late yesterday afternoon, the Mexican Army surrounded the site to keep people who are not involved with the rescue effort out of the area. After the grim work of removing the bodies is over, the search for clues will begin to determine what happened to Flight 940 and why. Richard Schlesinger, CBS News, Mexico City.
The deposed dictator without a home may finally find one in Spain. The Spanish government says it may grant asylum to former Philippine President Ferdinand Marcos, but only if the new Philippine government makes the request. In Manila today, the only word about Marcos was new proof about more money he allegedly stole from government coffers. The Aquino administration's chief auditor says Marcos took $4.7 million from one of his ministries during his last month in office. Auditors now say at least $8.5 million is missing from the government. They believe Marcos stole all of it.
In Northern Ireland today, mobs of rioting Protestants attacked Roman Catholics and police in several towns. That violence follows yesterday's clash in Portadown, just outside Belfast, in which 49 people were injured. A Protestant rally was held there in defiance of a ban, and then the demonstrators began throwing stones, cans of paint, and fire bombs at the police. The police responded by firing plastic bullets into the crowd. 100 British troops had to be flown to the small rural town to bring the riot under control.
France is pulling its peacekeeping force out of Lebanon. The 45-member observer unit has been there for the last 2 years to monitor ceasefires and aid efforts to end the bitter violence tearing Lebanon apart. The French government says the pullout has nothing to do with the French citizens now being held hostage in Lebanon.
Consumers continue to come out the big winners in the OPEC oil price wars. Today, oil prices dipped to their lowest level in more than 8 years. They bottomed out at $9.75 a barrel this morning. Then they shot back up above the $10 mark later in the day. Industry analysts credit the continued price drop to glutted supplies, warm weather, and the general pessimism about the depressed oil market.
Well, on another matter, now that spring is in the air, those whose figures bloomed a little too much over the winter are thinking about shaping up for bikini season. And according to a new study, a lot of Americans need to do more than just think about dieting. The World Health Organization found that 2 out of every 5 American women between the ages of 40 and 50 fall into the obese category, and 1 out of every 3 American men is technically classified as obese. The report concludes that while people may be living longer because of modern medicine, they are living increasingly unhealthy lives.
Coming up, shoppers who cross the Hudson will have some changes ahead.
We'll tell you about a new agreement that may pose a taxing issue for some consumers. Stay tuned.
Adrian Arpel, I need help.
Well, you've come to the right place. Just give us 2 hours to make you over. First, a honey and almond facial scrub and a skin vacuuming. Next, a warm collagen protein mask. Now, a makeup and lesson. Then our stylist cuts and reshapes your hair. Well, Lauren, what do you think?
Adrian Arpel, I just love you.
This week only, Adrian Arpel Makeover, just $25 at Bamberger's Directives Beauty Salons.
Where are all the interesting men on Saturday nights? Men you can depend on. Oh, no! Men who are out of the ordinary. Men who are exciting to be with. Well, on Saturday nights, the 2 foxiest guys in town are on CBS.
Oh, right.
Jack Warden, John Rubenstein, in Crazy Like a Fox. Now on Saturday nights at 8 on CBS.
Here's another true story from the extra effort people. A couple owned a house on a busy roadway. They were concerned that they'd have a hard time selling.
My research showed the area had just been zoned for commercial use, and so we were able to sell the house as a business property, which got them much more money than they'd anticipated, and the businessman we sold it to can't believe how busy he is.
Extra effort is why Schwab people market a home every 6 minutes. To sell your home quickly and at the right price, call us, the Extra Effort people, at 1-800-REALTOR.
To get you to choose them as your long-distance phone company, certain people say they're better than MCI. Not true. There's nothing better than MCI Dial One service. They say they're cheaper than MCI. Please. MCI costs less no matter when you call. They'll even hint that MCI's trying to look like them. No way. However, to show you what a sporting company MCI is, we won't even mention that expensive phone company by name. But I'll give you a hint. Their initials are AT&T.
Join the over 2 million PhoneWise customers who have already chosen MCI. Call now and start saving.
Taking a look at things monetary, an unusual two-state tax swap goes into effect today. The new pact allows New York merchants to collect New Jersey sales tax and vice versa. Officials say a lot of people would buy something in one state, ship it to a phony address in the other state, all to avoid sales taxes.
This is an agreement at present between the states of New York and New Jersey, the border states. It probably will be expanded to other states.
Now, business people do not seem to be too happy about this new deal. They say they're afraid out-of-state business is going to be lost. Paul Schiraldi manages the Brick Church Appliance Store in Orange, New Jersey. He's with us now at his store to talk about this tax swap. Mr. Schiraldi, good evening to you.
Hi, but I'm Chuck Lebeck, the president of the company.
Mr. Lebeck, sorry, I had Paul Schiraldi down. You give my regards to Paul anyway, will you, Chuck?
Will do.
All right. At any rate, how is this deal going to affect you?
Well, we're excited about it because I think it's something that the states of New York and New Jersey sorely needed. I think it'll add many tax dollars to both the states and even up the competitive nature of the tax situation.
That kind of surprises me. I thought a lot of New York people who would go over there to duck the 8.5% sales tax here would not be showing up at your store, and you'd be losing business, and you'd be unhappy about that.
No, I'm not unhappy at all. I'm very unhappy, and I think it's the fair and the best thing to do for both states.
So you don't think your business will be affected negatively?
Absolutely not, because everybody's going to abide by the same set of rules.
Chuck, thank you very much for your thoughts, and again, give my regards to Paul, all right?
Right on.
Good evening, sir.
Where is Paul? Well, another story for your pocketbook. For the first time today, the federal government lifted the 5.5% interest rate lid on passbook savings accounts. The deregulation means you could earn more money from your savings account, but experts say that's a little bit unlikely since interest rates are so low and they are not expected to increase at least in the near future. The elimination of the interest cap is part of the government's bank deregulation program.
Well, if you live on Long Island, you're a little worried about the tree branches growing too close to power lines. Long Island Lighting Company says it's ready to come out to the rescue. No charge. They're not going to wait for another hurricane. Lilco has a new telephone hotline. That number is 1-800-LIL-TRIM. Little Trim. Neat, huh? You can call, and Lilco crews will come inspect the trees, and Lilco promises to do the trimming of your trees, that is, within 2 weeks. Some people say they trim otherwise, too. Lilco says customers will receive more information on the new tree trimming program in their next electric bills. Now, coming up, what are your risks of getting the disease of AIDS?
Dr. Peter Salgo will join us with some new information on the deadly disease and what it means to you.
Watch your savings grow at Arthur's spectacular spring sale. Save on 14-karat earrings, 14-karat chains, diamond solitaires, and more. Step into spring at Arthur's. Relax on these stackable wire mesh chairs, a popular chair now at a popular price. Keep your lawn neat and trim with Black & Decker's 18-inch electric mower. The flip-over handle makes mowing easy. Soak up the sun in style in this 36-position folding chaise lounge. You'll clean up with spring savings at Arthur's, your store for savings.
Are you bored and frustrated waiting for that import vehicle to arrive? At State Line Toyota, you'll always find a huge inventory of new car and truck arrivals. But if you're looking for a special order and your name is not on the State Line Toyota list, well, you missed the boat. Because at State Line Toyota, one of the Tri-State's largest volume dealers, the price is always right. And we go out of our way to get you the best financing around. So don't miss the boat. Come to State Line Toyota today. That's State Line Toyota.
Cats, the #1 musical in America. Cats, the world's most thrilling theatrical event. There's just never been anything like it. Cats, It sings, it soars, it dances and dazzles. The memory of Cats will live forever. The 7-time Tony Award winner, the once-in-a-lifetime experience, the best musical. In a word, Cats at the Winter Garden Theater. Call 239-6200 for tickets.
Enjoying your butterball sandwich, Arthur?
I love my ham sandwich. Butterball, as we both know, is a turkey. You worry me, Alice.
When is a butterball not a butterball? When it's new Butterball Cold Cuts, made from lean Butterball turkey meat. So your favorite ham, bologna, salami are up to 98% fat-free.
Any more Butterball, Alice?
Don't you mean ham?
You worry me, Arthur. New lean Butterball Cold Cuts.
Delicious.
After all, it's Butterball.
Reach out to the National Council of Negro Women.
In our Health Watch tonight, AIDS and the news that the epidemic could get worse. Dr. Peter Salgo is here with more.
Michelle, last fall, we were warned that AIDS posed a clear and present danger to all of us, both heterosexual and homosexual alike. Sexual promiscuity was the crucial element in its spread. And for the past 2 days, there's been a meeting of AIDS experts in Newark, New Jersey to go into the problem further. We were there today to learn what has happened to the disease since our last report. At today's conference in Newark, we learned that AIDS has behaved a little differently than we expected. For the moment, in our area, it's drug abusers who are at greatest risk.
What we see nationally is that the gay AIDS cases are really leveling off, or even declining in some of the large cities, San Francisco and New York. Not in the drug abuse community.
Dr. Jack Rutledge is the Deputy Commissioner of Health for New Jersey.
Over 70%, and in New York and New Jersey, over 90% of the heterosexual transmission of AIDS has been through the IV drug abuse community. So if there is any risk to the general population, it is through the drug abuse community. And therefore, we've got to attack them now and do something positive rather than waiting until it gets any farther out of hand.
One route that AIDS might follow out of the drug community and into the population at large would work like this. Prostitutes, who are also IV drug abusers, would get the virus into their bodies through unclean needles. They would then pass the disease along to their clients through sexual contact.
I think the verdict is still out on whether or not it can go the other way, from a female drug abuser to her male partner.
No one at the conference today disagreed that AIDS and drug abusers had to be controlled, and most people agreed that one way to do that would be to give away sterile needles to drug abusers for free.
It might be feasible to get up some type of an exchange program. Instead of legalizing the sale, possibly have an exchange program where someone could bring in a dirty needle, and through our treatment programs, we might give them a clean needle.
Now, there was something else that I learned today at the meeting. It was more a feeling I got than anything specific, but it was definitely present. The AIDS experts that I talked to today were worried. AIDS has not yet broken out of the high-risk groups into which it's been confined so far, but it could do so, and it could do so at almost any time. In fact, one researcher from the National Institutes of Health told me that anyone who thinks that heterosexual promiscuity is safe is simply wrong. He urged everyone to think about it very carefully. There was a definite undercurrent of worry in Newark today, Jim.
Dr. Salgo, AIDS apparently broke out in Africa, and there it is spread extensively into the heterosexual population.
That's correct. In fact, right now, AIDS is about 50% male and 50% female. There's really no difference in the attack rate in AIDS in Africa.
It would be rather naive to suspect that a disease could stay in just one category, correct?
I think it would be naive to suspect that it would stay in one category. It would equally be naive to think that the United States and the situation here is the same as the situation in Africa. I think there are significant differences, and just how far it goes in breaking free of its high-risk categories is still not clear.
Then we have the matter of other diseases. Drug and alcohol abuse and the job are costing American businesses $100 billion per year. That's from a study released by a business reporting company today. The study says that absenteeism by alcoholics is up to 8 times greater than the working population as a whole, and drug abusers are involved in 4 times as many accidents as other workers. The study adds solutions to the problem, such as drug testing for employees, are elusive and loaded with controversy.
And we will have more news for you in just a moment.
I always said you have to prove yourself if you want to get ahead in this world. That's why he's our pride and joy. His fresh outlook and friendly smile have already won the hearts of the community, and boy, is he growing. What makes him so special? Well, even though he's not as old as some of the other kids on the block, he's honest and straightforward. He doesn't like to be beat, and his motor skills are well above average. His name? Roberts Oldsmobile, the newest Olds guy, Bergen County's pride and joy.
Say, that's a well-balanced breakfast. Want to make it taste extra delicious?
Yeah!
Well, everything tastes yummy with Golden Blossom honey. Everything tastes yummy with Golden Blossom honey.
Yeah!
Cereal, toast, and pancakes, honey makes them yummy. Muffins, waffles, pastry, too. Breakfast goes with honey. Everything tastes yummy with Golden Blossom honey.
Gee, you really know your honey.
Love that Golden Blossom.
Recent medical research indicates that cerebral palsy can be the result of medical malpractice. In some cases, the high cost of hospitalization and ongoing care can be recovered. If any member of your family is afflicted with cerebral palsy and you have any questions regarding their legal rights, please call my offices for more information. There is no charge for the call or the consultation.
It's all here in the Bahamas. You have a lot to do.
You may not want to do it all, but it's nice to know it's there.
It's Bachelor in the Bahamas.
Bahamas Express, 4 days, 3 nights from $276, including airfare and hotel.
For many people on the welfare rolls, there is a way off. Governor Cuomo just started a new program for welfare recipients who are able and anxious to do work. It trains and places them in jobs with the private sector and joins hands with a workfare program that's been around for nearly 15 years. In tonight's Closer Look, Channel 2's Randall Pinkston reports on Wildcat, a workfare program that works.
For the people entering this building at 161 Hudson Street, life is looking up. After years of being on welfare, they are trying to get off.
Why now? Why not earlier?
Because the kids are older, they in school all day, and I have been looking for work before, but I really have no job skills that I can get a job with.
There is new hope for the 30 people in this class because of a unique job training program with a 14-year track record. It's called Wildcat, a name taken from the oil industry term wildcatting. Dictionary definition, prospecting and drilling in territory not known to be productive. The term easily applies to most of Wildcat's clientele, chronically unemployed, poorly educated, no skills and no chance in today's highly competitive job market.
Very often, people who are on welfare don't have a resume. They can't say that they've worked any place, and nobody's willing to give them that first try, especially if you're 39, 40 years old. We give them a work history by having them stay with us from 6 months to a year. We teach them a skill.
New York State has 1.2 million welfare recipients who receive more than $2 billion in benefits each year, most of the money in AFDC payments for families with dependent children. Last fall, state officials joined a number of other states in launching a workfare program, a model project in the city only. All able-bodied adults on public assistance who don't have small children have to do something for the money, frequently menial tasks such as sweeping floors or raking leaves. Some critics say such workfare programs don't work and aren't fair because they're dead-end jobs with no training and no future. That's what makes Wildcat different. Here they give real training for real jobs.
On the top of the scale, you'll find people working Smith Barney, IRS, E.F. Hutton.
Okay, if you want to skip a column, you have a skip.
This group has completed the basics and is preparing to tackle high-tech word processing. But the training goes beyond technical skills. Clients must also demonstrate good work habits.
Attendance and punctuality, I've probably beaten that subject to death, but it is important. You can't expect to succeed if you're not here. If they make it through our 6 months, then they're ready for work. As I said before, we make this tougher than actual work. So if they can handle the 6 months of this program, work becomes easier. And they'll come back and tell us that the workplace is a lot easier and more relaxed and less pressure than this is because we have to put a certain amount of pressure for them to succeed.
And there are success stories. Brunilda Morales graduated 2 months ago. Now she's working for the Internal Revenue Service in Brooklyn.
To me, the toughest part was just getting my foot in the door.
Yeah.
Once I was there, it just went well.
Getting your foot in the door, what did that involve? What did you have to do?
Take an exam. I had to take an exam, and I wanted to do well in it. I mean, they said that they would accept you even if you didn't do that great, but I wanted to do good because I wanted to know that I still had something up here.
Brunilda Morales isn't the first Wildcat graduate hired by the Internal Revenue Service. In fact, in public and private industry, Wildcat has a pretty good record of success. But there's a familiar problem. Reagan administration cutbacks, less money for the program, fewer openings for welfare clients who want to work.
And it's a shame because sending people to Wildcat is a way of controlling your welfare budget. And it really is penny wise and pound foolish not to spend that money to get people off welfare.
Much of the money for Wildcat's clerical training program comes from public funds, but Wildcat officials say it's worth it because without help, welfare recipients will never be able to find productive, tax-paying jobs. With a closer look, Randall Pinkston, Channel 2 News, Brooklyn.
Coming up, we'll have an update on today's top stories.
Adrian, our pal, I need help.
Well, you've come to the right place. Just give us 2 hours to make you over. First, a honey and almond facial scrub and a skin vacuuming. Next, a warm collagen protein mask. Now, a makeup and lesson. Then our stylist cuts and reshapes your hair. Well, Lauren, what do you think?
Adrian, our pal, I just love you.
This week only, Adrian Arpel Makeover, 3750 at Saks Fifth Avenue Beauty Salons. Call for an appointment.
No chemical preservatives, no artificial sweeteners, no caffeine. Very, very, very fine. Here's to your health.
H&R Block found Don and Flo Brown a tax refund of $939.
We couldn't have done it without you.
H&R Block found Lois Lesser $547.
I couldn't have done it without you.
We're pledged to finding you the biggest refund you're entitled to. This year, let H&R Block do your taxes. Get back everything you've got coming.
I couldn't have done it without you.
H&R Block, where more Americans find a bigger refund.
What can we find for you?
Your flash is interrupting their ceremony.
Hey, they'll thank us when they see how nicely their Pathmark process pictures turn out.
I don't think they've heard of Pathmark.
Well, they should. Pathmark has their own labs, uses Kodak paper, and the new Kodak Color Watch computerized quality control system for picture-perfect processing.
They'll be so impressed.
And it's just 15 cents a print with no charge for developing.
The chief's walking toward us.
Probably wants copies. Good thing second prints are just half price at Pathmark. He knows a nice shot when he sees one.
Now that's what I call a nice shot.
We're going to go now live to Frank Field, who is at the Metropolitan Towers on 57th Street. Look at that view, Frank.
Hey, we were just looking at an airplane, and if he'd let his wheels down, he would have bumped Tracy right off and John right into the street. We're 78 stories above the street, and you can see the spectacular view behind us. It must be at least 20 degrees colder up here than it is on the street, and we really have been hanging on. As a matter of fact, Michelle, look at the distance. There's a solid haze out there, and that haze, this is Central Park. We're looking north, right at the horizon itself. That haze really began as a pall of smoke that moved over somewhere in the Brooklyn area, and it drifted across LaGuardia. We've watched it for the past hour as it drifted across the city, and it's just incredible what people are driving through and living through under that smoke. And you get a real bird's eye view, and off there you can see the City Core building. We're looking due east. It's a clear sky overhead, but the haze that envelops the city simply indicates that what we have now is a strong southeasterly flow. There's cool air. It's sweeping in from the direction we're looking. It's right at the surface, and above it is that nice, warm, dry air. Let's take a look at the readings. Today, we had a high temperature of 70 degrees. Right now in Central Park, it is 61 degrees. The humidity is 51%. The wind is south-southeast. It's 14 miles an hour. A falling barometer. The air quality is good, and we have bright sunshine. Now, looking at the satellite photograph, we're in the fair weather system. That line of clouds you see extending from the Great Lakes down through the center of the country represents the leading edge of colder air. Not colder, I'll call it milder, because there's a drop in temperature of maybe 10 or 15 degrees. And that should be moving in. It is triggering off quite a line of showers and thunderstorms and some fairly severe weather from the Great Lakes. You see it on the latest radar. That won't reach us. What will happen is that overnight, as that line through the middle of the country moves this way, it will bounce into the warmer air that's been over us, and it will gradually dissipate. So that southwesterly flow that brought record-breaking high temperatures for the past 24 hours will give way as the cooler, or we'll call it milder air, and that blue line you see is the leading edge of that cooler air, moves through. There'll be a difference of about 10 or 15 degrees. So the cool front will start moving in, and we will go from southwesterly winds into those cool northerly winds. The flow of air, and if we can animate that, will give you the sharp contrast. There's southerly winds ahead of the cool air. There's northerly winds behind the cool air, and we'll get into a northerly flow, but that will just drop temperatures just slightly, and then the cool front will come sweeping through. So obviously we will go from that onshore flow of southeasterly winds into that northwesterly flow tomorrow. That will produce a little cloudiness overnight. Might even get a shower or two over the hills north and west of the city. So the forecast for the metropolitan area for tonight, call it mostly clear. By morning, as the cool front heads in, a few clouds will develop. Here in the city, our temperature will get down to about 50 degrees, and I have to tell you, up on top of the roof, it's already there. Inland, 40 to 45 degrees with southerly winds. For tomorrow, we might get a passing shower during the morning hours, and then a gradual clearing will move in as northwesterly winds take over. Now, tomorrow's temperatures between 65 and 70 degrees. Looking ahead for the next 5 days, we expect that the weather will continue quite pleasant, and we expect that we may be back up here on top of the Metropolitan Tower to take another look at the weather. Later on during the broadcast, as the sun sets, we've been looking north and looking east. If we look off to the west, there is a solid haze over New Jersey, probably a combination of a little of the smoke and the brush fires that have affected us. So despite the fact that the weather has been delightfully mild and dry, in a way it represents some unfortunate circumstances for us, because the land itself is dry, the brush is dry, and if folks aren't careful, we can set off some brush fires. Michelle?
All right. Thank you, Frank. We'll see you later. In other news, NASA investigators today confirmed for the first time that they have, in fact, recovered part of the Shuttle Challenger's crucial right rocket booster. Officials say lab tests positively identified the debris as part of the booster segment where the explosion occurred. But officials believe the exact spot where the explosion was triggered was destroyed in the disaster. Jim Jensen is back in the newsroom now. He's waiting to tell us what's ahead for Channel 2 News at 6. Jim?
Michelle, thank you. Well, as Dr. Frank Field just told you from atop the Metropolitan Towers, there is a dangerous underside to this beautiful but dry spring weather, that being brush fires. And today, New Jersey and Long Island firemen had to deal with several brush fires. We'll have complete details and team coverage of those fires at 6 o'clock. Vic Miles will also report about the one of many who's going to be benefiting from the new Jacob Javits Convention Center. This man owns the diner right next door. He's expecting a windfall. And then we'll have a story from Maury Alder, the report of a rare bird who tangled with the Throg Next Bridge and lived to squawk about it. Those and other stories coming up for you at 6. Michelle.
Thank you, Jim. And still ahead tonight, the champagne's bubbling along with the soap suds as the World Turn celebrates its 30th birthday, and 2 of its stars will join James Brady live when we come back.
Aloha, I'm Ed Hogan, president and owner of Pleasant Hawaiian Holidays, speaking to you from Hawaii, where we've made paradise affordable. Our pleasant low prices include round-trip airfare, a week in a Waikiki Beach hotel, and many extras. So stop dreaming and start packing. Call toll-free 800-2-HAWAII.
There's no better value
than a pleasant Hawaiian holiday with United Airlines.
The Hyundai Excel GLS is the new car on the block, but it makes old-fashioned common sense. It's reliable and comfortable with plush reclining seats, full carpeting, tinted glass, even a stereo sound system. And on the Hyundai Excel, these extras don't cost extra. So the new car on the block will even help you afford the new kid on the block. Hyundai, cars that make sense.
Where are all the interesting men on Saturday nights? Men you can depend on. Oh, no! Men who are out of the ordinary. Men who are exciting to be with. Well, on Saturday nights, the two foxiest guys in town are on CBS.
Oh, right.
Jack Warden, John Rubinstein, in Crazy Like a Fox. Now on Saturday nights at 8 on CBS.
Wednesday's the one-day sale starting 9 a.m. at A&S. Save 50% on just the mattress you need for a good night's sleep. Sealy, Simmons, Stearns & Foster. A terrific selection. 50% off. Firm, extra firm, super firm. Even a beauty rest. A Posturepedic. Correct comfort. 50% off at A&S. This firm Sealy twin. $39. Simmons Maxipedic twin. $89. Bonus frame with every sale set. Wednesday's the one-day sale store-wide starting 9 a.m. at A&S. It's a terrific one.
This week marks a big landmark in soap opera history as the world turns celebrates its 30th anniversary. And two of the stars who have been there through the years, seen it all, and survived are our special guests today. Helen Wagner and Don Hastings join us now with Jim Brady. Jim?
Thanks, Michelle. Welcome to live television.
Nice to be back.
Yes,
it's been a long time for us.
Yeah, tell us about that. You were doing it live for a while.
20 years in live, and we've been on tape since the show went to an hour, just about 10 years ago, wasn't it, Helen?
I would think.
Yeah.
And then tomorrow you have this, which is actually the 30th anniversary. And what are you having, your golden wedding anniversary?
Chris and Nancy are celebrating their 50th wedding anniversary, because it ostensibly, it really could be true.
That makes me 16. That's
yes,
great.
Yes, he's a charming young man.
You could not possibly be celebrating a 50th wedding anniversary.
Mm-hmm. No. Mm-hmm. I could be his mother, and I could be celebrating my 50th wedding anniversary.
Be my mother.
Yes, I'd love to be.
Dr. Bob, why do we watch? What keeps America hanging on your every word and every twist and every adventure?
I think people like Helen Wagner and Don McLaughlin and Bill Johnstone and wonderful cast, good story, and a show that tries to tell family problems and how we solve them and how sometimes we don't solve them.
Yeah.
Is that your feeling?
Oh,
people?
Yes, it's people.
It's not the plot.
Oh, it is the plot,
The plot, yes, but it's the plot about people.
And relationships.
Yes.
Talk about relationships a little bit. Didn't you meet your wife on the show?
Yes, she's now on Guiding Light. Yeah.
Will you watch that, or is there a competitive situation there?
Yes, we do watch the ratings.
Do people get along back there? I think that's what we all want to know. We're watching. Do you guys all love one another or hate one another? Or is there intrigue or what?
That's one of the reasons why this show has been was number one for as long as it was, because everybody really did get along. And if anything was getting very uptight, Hastings would come in with some little remark. He's one of the funniest men that ever lived. And the whole thing would just dissolve.
He told me that.
I'm supposed to be a serious actor.
Well, he has
My mother's may be watching, Helen. Watch what you say.
He has you have a wide range.
Oh, thank you.
Hasn't there ever been a time, though, when someone on that cast just didn't click with the rest of you? There was a clash of personalities. What would happen?
I don't know. We've had we never had any time for temperament.
No.
How hard do you work? How many hours a day do you work?
13 hours is our scheduled day, 7 in the morning until 8 at night.
And how many days a week is that?
It varies. Right now, the Hughes family's on just about every day.
But the show is on 5 days a week, 52 weeks out of the year. The only time we're not on the air is we're preempted Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's for football. Otherwise, we're on the air.
It's done here in New York, and there are very few soap operas here in New York. Is there a difference between working here in New York and doing it out in Los Angeles?
See, I don't know. Actually, there are more here. Maybe not here at CBS, but I think there are more. About 8 or 9 here, and the rest are on the coast.
Yeah, there are fewer on the coast, Jim, than there are here. This has always been the place.
This has always been the
source of the daytime shows.
Because they drew upon the theater so much and other mediums, really, for their cast.
Are you able to go out, and I know that you were trained as a singer. came out of Texas. And
yeah.
Can you get out and do a supper club? Can you do a gig? Can you go down, work off Broadway, that sort of thing?
Oh, yes. Yes.
And do you do that?
Yes.
It's hard to do.
It's
really
hard,
is.
but
you have
yes.
to give a lot of notice to get time off.
Well, when do you have time with your family? Because you have, what, a daughter now?
Well, I have a little girl and I have 3 older children.
Yeah.
They range from 28 out on the West Coast, Jennifer, to Julie, 25, Matthew, 19, and Kate the Great is 3.
Kate the Great. And I know you're married to a producer, Mr. Willie.
Yes.
Yes. Do you have children?
No, I just claim everyone else's children.
Well, that's
It takes
great.
good care of all of us.
What's going to happen now? Can you tell us what's going to happen tomorrow? Can you give us a little peek?
Tune in tomorrow. That's
Can
what's
you
gonna
lift
happen.
up the edge of the tent?
If we did, you wouldn't want to hear, because that's happened to me. Somebody said there was something about the story that somebody was dying to know, and I finally said, all right, I'll tell you. And then, why'd you tell me? Now I know.
Okay,
so no one ever tells.
Well, listen, happy anniversary to you and to the show. Okay.
Thank you all. And still ahead, get out your rod and reel. Joe Zone's gone fishing for trout. We'll see if he caught any when we come back.
Blimpie, America's best-dressed sandwich.
Broadway has a brand new smash. The great new breakthrough musical hit, Song and Dance. It's the best time you'll ever have in or out of the theater with Broadway's brightest star, Bernadette Peters, Broadway's best composer, Andrew Lloyd Webber, Broadway's biggest hit, Song and Dance. You're gonna love it. Bernadette Peters and Andrew Lloyd Webber's Song and Dance. Call Telecharge 239-6200.
A man's got to do what a man's got to do. Goodbye, old paint.
Uh-oh, better get Mako.
Great stories to read and all the program information you need in the new issue of TV Guide. That's entertainment.
Drinking is causing a problem. We can help you do something about it. Reach out to the Bed-Stuy Alcoholism Center.
Unfortunately, serious illness sometimes affects children. For them, the dream is not of growing up. They face instead death. But there is a group that tries to help terminally ill children live their lives to the fullest. The Make-A-Wish Foundation helps these kids make their fantasies come true. And today, Make-A-Wish is holding an ice cream scoop fundraiser in Central Park. And joining us live there now is one of the stars of TV's Kate and Allie, Ari Myers, who plays Emma. Thanks a lot for joining us, Ari.
You're welcome.
Tell us more about Celebrity Scoop. What's going on there in the park today?
Well, we're here for Baskin-Robbins to raise money for Make-A-Wish Foundation, and all these kids have come out to have some ice cream.
Tell me more about the kids there. I understand there are, what, over 3,000 of them?
Yep. Yeah, there's a lot.
And are these children all ill?
Yeah. Yeah, they are. Yeah, it's really, I don't know. They're all ill children, and we've come out to help to raise money for the fund and give them a chance at a better life while they're still here.
Who's going to be there besides you?
Well, these people have also come out to help us. This is Jeff Trotter from Loving and Christy Tudor from Loving also. They've come out to help. And it's really been a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's really terrific what you're doing. Tell us more about the Make-A-Wish Foundation. They've helped so many people. Yeah.
Huh? Danger Mouse has also come out to help us. Say hello, Danger Mouse.
Okay. That's great. Well, we wish you a lot of success with this. It's a wonderful thing that you're doing. Ari Myers from Kate and Allie.
Thanks.
Among the people making news tonight, Britain's Prince Charles and Princess Diana will be opening Expo 86 in Vancouver, British Columbia on May 2nd. The $1 billion fair boasts the largest number of countries, 54. That's the biggest ever to take part in a world fair. The theme of Expo 86, which will last until October 20th, will be World in Motion. 16 million visitors are expected to attend. And former Congressman John Jenrette has been disbarred by the South Carolina Supreme Court. 5 years ago, he was convicted on bribery and conspiracy charges in the FBI abscam sting operation, and today's disbarment comes after Jenrette, who is now serving a 2-year prison term, exhausted all court appeals. Well, as we told you a little bit earlier, Joe Zone went fishing today. It was opening day, but as he tells us now, so did everyone else. Did you catch anything?
I caught nothing, but I didn't try real hard. If you ever wanted to be out, today was the day because the weather was, I mean, this was the time. And the opening day of trout season is always an event, but I got to tell you, today was one of those opening days that the real diehard fishermen dread. You know why? The weather was just so nice that every angler and his brother was out, and that makes for some very crowded trout fishing. One of the most crowded spots in the state is here in Sullivan County. Sullivan County, you're thinking. There are so many fine trout streams closer to the city. But this spot, right here, Junction Pool in Roscoe, where the Beaverkill and the Willowee-Mac rivers meet. It is one of the most famous trout fishing places in the whole country. For sure, they come from everywhere to fish here. Schenectady, Rochester, Manhattan. A couple of years ago, a fisherman by the name of Carter came all the way from Georgia to fish here. They come because it is a wonderful spot for trout, but they also come for a chance at history. You see, the late Red Smith wrote of a two-headed trout that couldn't decide whether to swim up the Beaverkill or up the Willowee-Mac. Have you seen the two-headed trout today?
No, I've heard about him, though, but I haven't seen him.
No, I haven't seen him. But he's in here. I heard rumors of him. He's around.
Have you seen the legendary two-headed trout yet?
I hear about that one. I haven't caught up with him yet, though.
Haven't seen him yet, though.
No, we're still hunting for that guy. We'll get him yet, though.
We never did see the two-headed legend, but we did see quite a few of the regular kind. How have you done so far? Obviously, you got a nice finger there. How many of those are yours?
One.
One?
A large one there.
So there are some fish in here, then. You seem to be the only guys with any success.
There's a lot of luck involved, I'm sure.
Not all of the anglers who come to Junction Pool are experts. Miss Sullivan County, Maria Esquincinza, is a novice in the true sense of the word.
All you gotta do is just go like that. Boom.
Just throw it out?
Just throw right where you throw your hand right to where you want to go.
Whether a first-timer or an old diehard, a visit to Junction Pool is a must. The fishing is good, the storytelling fantastic, and maybe, just maybe, you'll be the one to land the legendary two-headed trout. Now, if you'd like a shot at that two-headed legend, you got to plan for about a 2-hour drive. Take the thruway to Route 17, then exit 94 in Roscoe, and anybody there can tell you how to get to Junction Pool. And there were an awful lot of fishermen there today, but I got the feeling that some of the experts, some of the old codgers were sort of waiting for people to do their thing and then go in a little bit later on in the afternoon, because it is so crowded. When you get a day like today where everybody wants to try it, it really crowds up, and some of the veterans sort of wait a while and sit back.
It's also time for the salmon fishing, right, as soon as that ice thaws.
The salmon's a little bit later on, but the water this year is not as cold, it's not as deep, it's not as dark and murky. So the way fishermen look at that, for some fishermen, they like it a little murky because the fish really can't see you. They can see for a long ways when the water's clear like it is. On the other hand, when it's not as deep and not as rushing, it's also easier to fish in the water. So it's kind of a combination of conditions today.
How hard is it to learn how to fly fish? I mean, do you need to take lessons or something on that?
You don't need lessons. You just need to get out there one time with somebody who knows what they're doing. You need a lot more room to fly fish. For instance, sometimes if you get into those streams and those areas where it's tight with trees and weeds and stuff around you, you really can't have all that room that you need.
Yeah.
But if you get out there like where these people were today, you need a little bit more room. You got to keep casting, let that line throw out there. You're all right.
That was great. Great report. What a fun assignment for you today. Thanks, Joe, for being with us.
Okay.
That's it for us today. I'm Michelle Marsh, filling in for Carol Martin. Thanks for joining us. And coming up tomorrow on Channel 2 News at 5, radio and television talk show host Larry King will talk with us live. We will take a closer look at extended wear contact lenses. Are they a help or a danger? And Joan Hambert will go backyard for some bargains on outdoor furniture and barbecue equipment. All that's tomorrow. Now here's a look at what's ahead on Channel 2 News at 6.
I'm Roseanne Coletti in Andover Township, New Jersey, where forest firefighting takes to the air.
I'm Barbara Nevins in the Bronx, where the city has begun a crackdown on people who are not paying their parking tickets.
I'm Tony Guida. Another former top official of the Koch administration is indicted.
I'm Vic Miles, just in front of the Javits Convention Center. But the story today is the River Diner.
Maury Alter here. You're probably expecting an April Fool's story. You had enough of that already. How about something nice? An April Flies story. Will he fly? Certainly. Stay tuned.